We're back now with new details coming out about former Packers quarterback Brett Favre and his possible involvement in the largest public corruption case to ever hit the state of Mississippi. Tens of millions of dollars earmarked for the state's neediest families misused. The reporter who's broken the major developments in this story is standing by. But first, Matt Smith brings us up to speed.
Just this past week, we learned Brett Favre has hired attorney Eric Herschmann, a former top advisor to former President Donald Trump. Herschmann represented Trump during his first impeachment trial. Favre now at the center of Mississippi's largest ever public corruption case, the details simmering and developing for several years.
We've seen a ton of welfare money that's intended for the poorest folks here in the state of Mississippi flowing to people who just simply did not need it.
Text messages made public last month show Favre and former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant talking about using public welfare funds to build a new volleyball arena at the University of Southern Mississippi, where Favre graduated and his daughter played volleyball. Public funds that were meant to help the state's poorest residents. State officials say more than $4 million in those public funds were ultimately used to build the facility. This past spring, Mississippi's Department of Human Services filed a civil lawsuit against Favre and others to recover some of that money. Favre hasn't been charged, and he's denied knowing the public money came from welfare funds meant for families in need.
Mississippi Today, a nonprofit news organization, is credited with breaking and exposing the corruption, details which continue to unfold today. Anna Wolf is the reporter behind the stories. She joins us now. And Anna, welcome to Upfront.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I want to start with why you think that all of this is getting so much national attention. You've been reporting on this for years. Why now?
Yeah, I think after there were some new text messages released, and the text messages have really bolstered the story and what we've been able to show about Favre's involvement in this welfare spending here in Mississippi. There was a particular text that came out where he said, he asked the nonprofit founder who was funneling money to his projects if the media could ever find out, if they gave him the money, where it came from and how much. And, the big question has been here, what did Favre really know about the source of these funds and what they were supposed to be used on or what they could have been used on? And I think that text really indicated to the national media that there was really something here about Favre's intentionality with these funds.
And we do know that just this past week, Favre hired Eric Herschmann. What do you think are the significant developments with that? Obviously, an attorney now dealing with this case.
Yeah, I think the national attention has certainly made him take this a little more seriously. I think before he he paid back some of the money that he received personally. So he did receive $1.1 million in welfare funds under a sort of advertising contract. We now know that that was just a way to get more money to the volleyball stadium project. But he did pay that money back. And I think he kind of felt like, he could pay it back and then it might just kind of disappear. But now that it's really out there in the national media, and the former welfare director, who he was communicating with at times about these projects, actually pled guilty a couple weeks ago, right before he got this attorney. And so that person has agreed to aid prosecution. And so I think things are really going to start rolling now.
Yeah, there are so many moving parts to this story. Can you bring us up to speed on what exactly is happening either with that federal case and then the civil case as well?
Yeah, so back in May, the state filed a civil case against 38 people or companies that received money improperly, including Brett Favre. That's just a civil case. So it, alleges that these people received this money improperly, that they should have known that, it was welfare money and they shouldn't have been receiving it. And that will ultimately attempt to claw back some of the money. But now the federal criminal investigation has really gotten underway, it seems. The first state arrests in this case were back in 2020, and the feds have not charged anyone within this scandal until about 2 weeks ago with the former welfare director. So I think now we're seeing them actually take action, and we could see other people charged now.
Yeah, Favre said that he didn't realize that this was welfare money. Do you think that's plausible?
I think that this particular program, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, which is what we're talking about, it provides the cash welfare check to very poor families. It's a very it's obscure to a lot of people. It's not a very well-known program. So I think it's very possible that someone like Brett Favre didn't even know what Temporary Assistance for Needy Families was. But the main point is that the Department of Human Services is the agency that he was working with on these projects. And that is what the agency exists for, is to help people. He did know that in order to get the funds, that they had to kind of write a creative grant in order to say that they were helping people, disadvantaged people with this money. And so he did know that at least that purpose was there, because they had to say that that was what they were doing. And that was kind of how they skirted around the federal regulations here.
Really quickly, I just want to ask your interactions with Brett Favre. You've been covering this again for several years. What have they been like?
So back in the beginning, when the arrests were first made in 2020, we were able to connect Brett Favre pretty early on, because in the indictments, there was a company named that had received $2 million in stolen welfare funds. And this was a company that Favre was promoting, he was investing in, he was trying to get state support on. And then we also found out that $5 million had gone to this volleyball stadium project that he was pushing. So when we reached out to him, our main questions were like, what was your involvement here? And what kind of conversations did you have with the governor at the time about these projects? And he told us by text that he didn't have conversations. He said no when we asked if he had conversations with the governor about the volleyball stadium. We now know from text messages that that's not true. They indeed had conversations. But his main point was, he told me, this is economic development, plain and simple. That was his explanation for why he was communicating with welfare officials about luring this pharmaceutical company that I mentioned to the state and other projects, was that they were going to help people by creating jobs, was essentially what the argument was.
Do you think he's ever going to face any criminal charges?
It's really hard to say right now. The feds move slowly, they move quietly. But I think that we'll see, as time goes on, if John Davis really has the information that they would need to bring charges.
Anna Wolf, reporter with Mississippi Today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Still to come, Wisconsin's third congressional race is heating up. We're getting new insight and analysis next.